Hey guys, Ninja here, and welcome back to another episode of StoneBlock 3. In today's episode, we're going to continue to work on expanding our tech, as well as work on some additional quests. But before we get into all that, how about we take a moment to dive into a build I've put off long enough. I don't know why, but I procrastinated on these waterways so bad. It has really delayed the release of this episode, but we're finally completed. We got them done. I am so excited, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. So definitely let me know in the comments. We did get both sides done, and we've started adding some additional decorative touches. So this is what it looks like from the top. You can see we've used a combination of blocks below, and they're at different levels. So we've got some mossy cobble, there's some regular cobble, there's a little bit of stone left, there's some different variations of andesite, there's some coarse dirt. We've also got stone and mossy stone, plus the brick versions which we're using on the sides of the wall. So I want it to feel like a structure going into more of a natural terrain. And then of course we've got some kelp and whatever they call the water grass. And then we've lit it all up with the sea pickles. So I think it makes for a really nice transition. Definitely let me know what you guys think. And down below the causeways, we've brought up the stone design and we've added stairs to all of them. Even the ones that don't have a shaft, we've just done it so they all look the same. And we've added vines in, which are kind of taking over, so we may have to change that. And then we've also added some glowberries, which we've clipped so they're at different heights and they don't all grow to the water. And I think overall it looks fantastic. We've also added some lights on the sides just to give it a bit more lighting. You'll notice as we move around here, I've gotten rid of most of the torches except in the unused areas and tried to light it up best I can. We'll probably continue to make adjustments as I find dark spotches, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with the lighting in here. It's going to obviously brighten up some more once we do the ceiling, which is the last bit we have to do, which we'll probably tackle in the next episode or two. We'll just have to see. We also went ahead and done both end caps, so they are done. That wasn't too bad of a job because we just carried our design over, and we went around, like I said, and added some lighting in, and I also noticed some blocks missing here and there that we kind of worked on fixing. We are going to cut this out and make a stairwell down with maybe like a little dock on each end. That is something I haven't gotten to. We may do that on our next stream. We are going to try to start streaming more regularly, at least once a week on this server, because we really need to get to the point where we can wrap it up so we can do more interesting, awesome Modpack stuff. My goal is to try to continue maintaining one modded series and server for doing stream content on as well. If we jump down here, you can see what it looks like down below. So you've got the shaft running through, you've got the stone brick stairs, you've got all the glowberries and the vines. It's a really nice touch. And we can kind of look here as well in the water so you can kind of see it up close. I don't know. There could have been probably better ways to tackle this, but I am not a fan of doing construction in water. But we got it done. We got it done. Now let's head up and see what we've been working on since the last episode besides this, because we actually did stream and we got a few things done. So let's go take a look at that now. So one of the things we've done on our stream in between episodes is work on chest automating and powering some of our immersive engineering contraptions. If we start with our coke ovens, you'll see there is 2 inner chests, one in between each of them. One of them is for inputting coal into the coke ovens. The other is for taking the coal coke out and sending it to our storage system. There is piping that you can't see in the floors and walls. On our blast furnace, we now have power feeding our preheaters, as well as an inner chest, which is inputting the coal, coke, and iron into the top. There's an inner chest on the front to take the steel, and then there's one on the back to take the slag. Next to that, we have set up an additional metal press, so we now have 2. One of these is making rods, the other is making wires. And these work by sending the inputs via ender chests. And then we have these conveyor belts, these extractors that are pulling everything out, sending them into the press, getting stamped, and then there is a conveyor dropper, sending it back into an ender chest. And as we know, the color code red, which is where we're going to be taking all of our exports, that is the one that's sitting on our storage drawer controller, so anything we produce will go straight in. We have powered the crusher, but I don't know if we're going to use it. This is pretty much all the immersive engineering I'm probably going to do in this series, unless there's something that we need to build to progress through the mod pack. Because if you've been following me long enough, you know that I got a little carried away with immersive engineering in Enigmatica 8. And the last thing I want to do to you guys is on our next series, start doing a whole bunch of immersive engineering. We're trying to play with different mods, except in areas where we have to experiment with the same ones. So obviously we did a lot more create. We didn't do any create in Enigmatica. So that's one of the key differences. But now let's head over to our storage area so we can see what's changed over there. As we head into our storage room, you'll see we've added an additional row of compacting drawers, and that's because we're starting to get some of the metals from thermal series and we needed additional space. Like I mentioned when we first installed all these, we will change them to meet our needs. You'll also notice a bunch of additional items that we've added to various drawers around the room. Some of these will give you a clue to kind of what we've been working on. I'm not sure exactly how these fully function. I've started to figure them out. Like I figured out how to get them to map. I then discovered you can't add upgrades to them, which is kind of a bummer. So you're capped at 8,200, I guess. I'm not sure. If there is a way to increase the limit on these, definitely let me know. And I just noticed we got some birch that got into that one because it was unlocked. I'm not sure how that happened actually. These are controlled by that, but there should have been a lot. That one was unlocked, so we'll worry about that later. I've got to fix these as well. I keep clicking things while I'm in here. But we are not going to be using this too much longer. Another episode 2, and we're going to be moving into applied energistics. I cannot wait. But that's a bit of a teaser. That is not going to happen today. But if we head upstairs, you'll see we've kind of reworked our botany plots. So this was kind of a big project. We went and added item ducts to all of the bottom of these chests, and they are now being pulled. Everything is getting pulled directly into our storage system. That's why there was so many additional inputs in our storage drawers. My thinking is once the drawers kind of fill up and they start back filling into these chests, we can just unhook the cabling, because right now we have our chickens unhooked, because as I'm pulling stuff out of these drawers, it's filling it back up, so I'm ending up with a lot of excess stuff that I'm just I'll admit it, I'm throwing it away. Oh my goodness, I've never thrown away so many valuables before. But I mean, let's be real. Let's look at netherite. I have 2.6 thousand netherite blocks. I have a few to spare. Where's something else that's rare? Look at that, 32,000 prismarine shards. Oh my goodness, at the stuff that I have. But if we head back upstairs, you'll see that we've made some upgrades to our thermal series machines. We have added a couple augmentations. So if you look at that, you'll see we've got one flux linkage amplifier, which basically speeds the machine up. And we've had a hardened integral component added to each one of these. My goal is, before we end this episode, is to take that possibly all the way to resonant, but definitely the next level. We've also moved over our energetic infuser, and the primary reason I've done that is because I needed to charge up our exchanger. And you can see we've almost emptied it again. That was quite the project. If this episode is a little shorter than normal, it's because that took several hours. I don't know. I really don't know why that took so long. And the last thing we're going to take a look at, actually, there's one more thing after this. And I actually forgot to show that off in the previous episode, but we have made some adjustments. But we did add these ender chest inputs. So this is where we would actually go if we wanted to produce some steel, if we wanted to make some cold coke, wire, and rods. And just to kind of demonstrate that, let's go grab a stack of iron, some coal. Well, this is our cold coke. Let's grab some regular coal, and let's grab a stack of iron. And if we head back upstairs to our temporary workshop, or our first workshop, I mean, this is not a temporary, this room isn't going to get gutted. What's in here will stay. And our inputs. So if we drop steel production, if we put the coke in there with a stack of iron, it'll start pulling this stuff into the blast furnace. And on our coke production, if we put the coal in there, it's linked to the chest with our coke ovens. So now that is getting pulled into those coke ovens. And you can see it finished the coke. Now it's pulling the iron, and as it cooks, it will get sent into our storage drawers automatically. But now let's go take a look at the last thing before we get some work done. So the last thing we're going to take a look at is our create setup. Some of this was actually completed prior to the previous episode. I just forgot to show it off. So some you've already seen. So you've seen our sturdy casing production. You've seen our precision belt production. You've also seen, no, you have not seen the crushing wheel. This is the new piece that we done in the previous episode. And why we didn't tackle any additional create. I've been meaning to just finish the create stuff up, but I keep putting it off. I get so flustered messing with create. It's a lot of fun, but I'm a little OCD and I have to get things looking nice as well. And this looks okay, but essentially we have a feeder chest. A brass belt funnel pulls anything we put in that chest out onto this conveyor. It goes up. It hits another conveyor in the back, which is turned this way. You can't quite see it, but it in turn hits some that are running this direction, and they hit these brass tunnels. And the nice thing about that brass tunnel, although all of the input is hitting just that first one, it load balances across all three. So we get an even number across all three of our crushers. And you can see we have another brass funnel inputting into a chute that is dropping things into the crusher. And then we got a catcher conveyor on the bottom, which is sending everything into an ender chest, which goes directly into our storage. Now, the part that was added in between the last episode and this episode was our cobble smasher. So we got our we got our cobble generator, our tier 5, feeding 4 auto hammers, 3 auto hammers, 2 auto hammers, and 1 auto hammer. This is set to a round robin, so everything's getting a balanced amount. So we're getting cobble in an ender drawer, we're getting dust, we're getting sand, we're getting dirt, and we're getting gravel. So we're getting 5 resources all from this cobble gen. And we can take some of this gravel just to kind of show you how our crusher works. And we'll input it in the input. And it's quite quick. I mean, it doesn't take it long. We can actually probably at some point, I don't know if we'll get to it in this episode. I'm not sure if I'm ready to tackle create again, but definitely by the end of the next episode, I want to be completely done with all things create, unless we figure out something that we want to do in the future. But we need to get everything moved over and set up from our starter base, and everything that is left over there moved over. And maybe we will tackle that today. That is a good task. If we don't do anything else but move out of our starter base and finish this build, which we've already done, that already is a pretty significant episode. Unfortunately, I do have other plans. So you can see things getting dropped off and sent to our ender chest. Well, that is pretty much all we have done. Let's look at finishing up our Thermal Series questline. I believe I have everything we need to finish up the Thermal Series questline. Now, just because we're finishing up the questline doesn't mean we're done with the Thermal Series. There's some additional machines I want to set up on this wall over here, maybe in some of our flooring. We'll just have to see. And I also want to upgrade our machines all the way. But we will probably only go one more tier upgrade in this episode, because we're probably going to be maxing out our power generation capabilities, which we plan to address in the next episode. But as far as the quest line is concerned, there are only 2 machines left. One of those is the photogenic isolator. And if we click that, we should be able to click our little move items button. And there is everything we need. The holdup was these aluminum gears. So we had to process some aluminum blend. So if we take a look at that, just so you can see the recipe, it's basically some glowstone, silver dust, and tin dust, and we made a whole bunch of it. I'll show you guys in just a moment. The other machine we needed was this multi-servo press, and we may look at setting this up later in today's episode, or at least in between episodes. We'll just see. This might be something I wait and set up on stream. And the hold up on this one from the last episode was needing these constant gears and bronze. We were out of constant, and I didn't really feel like at that point make it any more, so we went ahead and wrapped up the episode before finishing the quest line. But that's okay. That gave us an easy completion for today's episode. And there's that beautiful music that I hope to hear in every episode moving forward, although that may get a little harder to do because we're starting to knock out some of the easier ones to accomplish. And if we go over to our quest book, you'll see that we have now completed the Thermal Series. There was a few components that we had crafted on our stream. So our augmentations that we crafted, that we got the reward for already, as well as our first level of upgrades. So we go ahead and take the rewards for those, our multi-serve presso, and the photogenic oscillator. And now we have officially completed the Thermal Series questline. Now, what I would like to do is, one, put this stuff up, but also look at crafting the next tier of our integral component, which is going to be the reinforced. And if we take a look at that, it's basically a whole bunch of electrum, signolium gear, and the hardened integral component and some nether quartz. So let's go ahead and pull these out. We're just going to upgrade the existing ones we have. We should have some, yeah, there's the electrum. I went ahead and made some. It should be just enough. Actually, it's more than we need. Yep, that should be it. And we should also have signolium. So you can see here, we made a whole bunch of aluminum blend, or I should say ingots, because we've smelted it down, as well as the signolium. So we're going to take some of the signolium because we'll need to make that into gears. We already have the iron nuggets we'll need for the gears. Oh, and did I look at that right? Is it, yes, signolium gears and electrum ingots. I want to make sure we don't get that backwards. We need 2 per, so we actually need more of these. Oh, I am bad mathing. We need another half stack. Which means we're also going to need some additional iron nuggets. Not a big deal. We're going to go down and grab a couple more. I love having crafting stations all over the place. It just makes crafting so much easier until you get into some of the more advanced auto crafting. All right, so now we should have enough of everything. So let's try to make some of these. Oh, we forgot to grab the nether quartz. So let's go and grab 8 nether quartz. And that should do us. There's 1. There is 2. 3. And 4. And we'll revisit these machines in the next episode. If we don't upgrade these in our next stream, we will do them in the next episode. We'll just have to see, because we're going to have to make some expansions to our power generation and storage capabilities first. But now we should be, how much are these burning now? 120 RF. Not too bad. We actually could probably go another one, but it's fine. That is enough for today. This will make them decently faster. I'm not sure how much faster. Let's see here. We have the furnace, diamond ore. Let's see. Can I pulverize diamond ore? Don't. Yeah, it's a little quicker for sure. We have a stone in the furnace. The furnace is definitely quicker. Well, that takes care of our Thermal Series questline and the upgrades I wanted to make in today's episode. There is one last major thing that I want to tackle, and I may have accidentally given it away when we opened the quest book, but that is correct. If you saw that, you guessed correctly. We are about to dive into blood magic. We're just going to do the first stage and kind of set up content for the next episode. So let's go ahead and get ready for that. Well, I think I have everything together that we need to get started. Well, the first thing we're going to do is just take a look at the quest book for blood magic. We're going to click on this, and basically the blood altar, which is this item right here, is what we're going to craft first, along with this sacrificial knife. And these are used to collect LP, which is basically blood. And it is used to craft various items and expand your altar. So we're going to start out with a tier 1. And today we'll try to get to a tier 2. It's been a while since I have played with any blood magic. But if we go ahead and craft these items, one of the rewards is the book, I believe is what this is. And we can take a further look at it. But I would like to at least get our tier 2 altar. And going into the next episode, I already have a plan for a massive area to move our blood magic stuff to. But let's go ahead and craft our blood altar, which is going to require this furnace. Like I said, I have everything together, just not necessarily crafted. And now we need the sacrificial dagger, and I remember what that is by heart. It should just be that right there, and there is quest 1 of our blood magic. We'll go ahead and accept that. And let's take a quick look at this book. So yes, this is your alchemical wizardry, or your blood magic book, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to click here. And you can pause if you would like to read over this. But essentially, we are setting up this tier 1 blood altar. And I think that is all we're going to do at the moment. So if we just set this on the floor right here, we should be able to just right click. Oh, no. I think we have to like put it in our offhand. Yeah, and then yep. And you can see it uses up your hearts and feeds the altar. And that's why I've got all this excess brick. Oh, and we made... Oh my goodness, I should have taken that out of our offhand. Well, let's go ahead and respawn, head back to our altar, and work on filling that up. So we're back over at our blood altar, and I think I have read enough to at least get to our tier 2 blood altar. So we need to craft 8 of these runes in order to put together our tier 2 altar. And these are crafted. If we look at JEI, you can see that we're just going to be crafting the blank runes for now, which will qualify as a tier 2 altar. You just won't get any bonuses. We can look at crafting some of these later, but essentially we need some form of the following blocks, along with a blank slate, which is made by the same blocks individually going into the blood altar, consuming LP. And you also need to craft a weak blood orb, which that's not the weak blood orb. If we go look at the first one, which is the weak blood orb, it's a single diamond with 2000 LP, and it gives you that weak blood orb. And if you need further instructions on the mod, definitely let me know in the comments. I'm going to be here stepping you through everything, so I probably won't show the book too much, but if you need to, you can find they have a GitHub page with a wiki, and all this info is on there. But I'm not going to do too much off camera. It's going to be running mostly on camera, except maybe feeding the blood altar, which is kind of a tedious task. With that said, let's start feeding the altar. So we now have our weak blood orb as well as our 8 blank slates. And as you saw, it's kind of tedious and it only gets worse from here. Although there are some ways to automate that a little bit, but it's still pretty tedious having to feed it blood. But I think you can get to the point where you can sacrifice animals. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've played with blood magic, so I am really looking forward to it. It is a lot of fun. So we're going to go ahead and throw our weak blood orb in here, as well as those 8 blank slates. And then we should be able to just fill this up with stone. Yeah, there we go. And that gives us our 8 runes that we need. Now this won't give us any additional speed or capacity, but it will allow us to do tier 2 altar things. I believe that it just goes around like this. I could be wrong. I haven't looked. I don't know if the book shows us this or not, but we're gonna go ahead and drop those runes down, and we'll see if it does anything when you do that. Oh yeah, that's definitely a tier 2. Look how much more essence fluid it can hold now. Before it was a lot different, and we could test that theory, I think, by looking at it. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. I thought it looked like it was holding more. Could be wrong. If we take a quick peek at our book, I don't know if it indicates like tiers of altar, blood altar. No, here we go. The tiers of slate. Doesn't show you. Does it give us... Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's just like that. So you have 4 upgrades, and the ones on the ends cannot be upgraded. So we have a fully functional tier 2 altar that can accept 4 upgrades, which we'll look at doing in the next episode. But I think for today, that's about gonna wrap us up. I know we didn't do too much additional content, but we did get a lot done in between episodes, and we tackled this major build project that I've been procrastinating and putting off. And I'm so happy that it's done, and I'm already getting ideas for the next couple of episodes that are just hitting my head. So I can't wait to move forward. But I want to go ahead and wrap things up for today. As always, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe. This is Aqua Ninja, and that's a wrap.